Here in this short video, I will share with you the motivations, objectives, and a high-level overview of the eOceans MPA Health Tracker and MPA Health Score. We'll also link to a video on how you can get started and to a white paper with more detail. Let's dive in. I'm Christine Wardpage. I'm the founder, CEO, and lead scientist at eOceans. I've been a marine scientist for more than 20 years, and I've always been concerned about the fact that ocean science is so slow, manual, and really doesn't involve the public. So I've focused heavily on collaborative, co-generated science and improving efficiency through eOceans. But first, let's talk about marine protected areas. So why would we need protection? Ocean assets are valued at $24 trillion, but this is still at a fraction of their capacity. So what are marine protected areas? Marine protected areas and other effective conservation measures are a diverse set of marine spatial planning tools that protect special places and species that provide extraordinary value from certain activities that erode their value. So who is investing in marine protected areas? Really, it's interesting because it's coming from the bottom up swell and the top down. UN signatories have all declared, following scientific advice, to increase the number and area covered by marine protected areas. And there's a bottom swell of grassroots organizations and momentum towards hashtag 30 by 30. But the motivations are always slightly different. It could be to protect species or ecosystems or cultural, recreational, and professional activities. So a lot of what I've been thinking about for the last many years is how is your MPA, ocean, coastline, endangered species, invasive species intervention, blue economy, blue carbon, and so on, doing today? Not 5 or 10 years from now, not reflecting back like I've done in the past. And in this case, how is your marine protected area doing today? So in most cases, we don't know is the answer. A lot of marine protected areas are never evaluated or monitored. And some that are monitored, we don't know today, we might know 5 or 10 years from now. But understanding performance is essential because society is increasingly reliant on the ocean. This is extremely important in terms of climate change, habitat destruction, and pollution. We really want to have these protected areas to provide an insurance policy, essentially an insurance policy against all of these changes. Stakeholders need to know what the MPA was designed for and what the objectives are, and to be able to know how it's working. They need to know if it's meeting its social and ecological conditions with respect to the landscape of management. And good governance strategies recognize and promote the rights of Indigenous peoples and local communities throughout the development of MPAs and monitoring. There's one thing that I really want to bring home, and that is that MPAs vary widely. And so because of this, there's a real need for high-resolution, multivariate, multi-lens data and perspectives that incorporate the biological, physical-chemical, social, anthropogenic, all those dimensions, as well as their interactions, so that we can compare inside and outside of the MPA, such as a buffer, compare the MPA to other habitats that are similar, or compare one MPA to another before and after across networks, etc. This is where eOceans can help. eOceans is a platform as a service that's designed to break barriers and create space for collaboration between ocean scientists, decision makers, stakeholders, rights holders, and the public. So eOceans is designed to automate all the tedious and time-consuming aspects of marine science that slows down our results. So the idea is that you can still design your surveys and collect your data, but it's automatically processed, analyzed, disseminated, and in real time or near real time. And the data can come in through the mobile app, which I will show you, or through other data streams like OBIS or ERDAP. And the idea here is to maximize your budgets so you don't have to spend time entering data, doing QA/QC or statistical analysis. You don't have to visualize and decide how things are going to be visualized or write reports. All that is automated for you inside of the platform. So how do you get started? Really, this is just high-level overview. You decide whether or not you want a public or a private team. So a public team, the data stays inside of the platform so that the contributors to your team always know how your data is being used. Versus a private team, you can download, the team owners or admins can download their data and use it outside the platform. And that is really designed for projects where there's already high level of trust between the team owner and the contributors. Then you fill out your MPA information, including location. So everything inside of the eOceans platform is based on a shapefile. So you decide on the location or the perimeter of your MPA, for example, and zones if you want it. In the picture, you'll see 2 polygons. These are hypothetical marine protected areas, where the inner one would be the marine protected area and the outer one would be a buffer. So if you were wanting to compare the inside and outside of a marine protected area, only the data that takes place, that's logged inside of your marine protected area, counts towards your MPA, and the other would go in your comparison or your buffer around. Then there's an overview. That's where you describe what the objectives are of your marine protected area. What management takes place inside of it. So this way you can communicate what activities are and aren't allowed. The results, this is where I will show you a glimpse of what the results are, but you can get summary analytics or advanced analytics under biological, social, and anthropogenic conditions. Discussion, this is where you the admin, you discuss the results. And comments, which is 2 over, that's where other people can help you co-interpret your results. Users, that's where you manage who's part of your team. The metrics tab is really understanding who is involved with your team. So if you have a public team and an MPA that's visited by people all around the world, you want to know how many people are visiting it, how often, and where they're from, for example. Then that kind of information would show up in the metrics tab. It's different than the results, which is about the MPA in particular. And then the reports tab, that's where you would automatically generate either a data download or a PDF report documenting the status of your MPA. And so how the data stream into your team can come from OBIS or ERDAP, but it also can come from the eOceans app. Really, you can see it as your activity tracker first. So you press start and you do your activity, where it's doing science, a belt transect or a roving transect, or if you're doing opportunistic survey with sailing or surfing or scuba diving, whatever the activity is, you use it as an activity tracker first and an observation logger second. So you log your observations of any species. We've got 500,000 species in the list, and any anthropogenic or human aspects. So if you see other people surfing or sailing, or if you see a pollution or oil spill or something like that, you can log all of these things all in the same place. And then the MPA Health Score comes into play. Your MPA Health Score tracks the abundance or diversity of your target species, along with the social benefits and engagement within your MPA, all the while accounting for the negative impacts of overuse, garbage and pollution, etc. So it really is meant to be a gauge on how your MPA is doing today. And then you can track that through time. And ideally, if you set objectives, then everyone will know you're headed towards this objective, for example. And as you're collecting data, you can also be reviewing results by month, so you can know what activities are taking place inside of your marine protected area by zone and inside and outside of the MPA, and how that changes by day, week, month, year. And the diversity of the different activities and how that changes. And the same with the species, and same with any threats that you have. And then you download reports. So you download your MPA Health Tracker report that provides all your MPA Health Score and your results. And the MPA Health Tracker can include summary analytics, or it can include more advanced analytics. This is just an overview of the interactive multivariate analyses that we do on biological, social, and anthropogenic aspects of your marine protected area. And like I mentioned earlier, you can also get the most out of your team by extending your baselines and coupling your data, your incoming data through the mobile app with other existing data, such as through OBIS or through ERDAP. There's also a notification system, so if there's something that you feel is very urgent to be notified when something is seen inside of your marine protected area, let's say an endangered species or an invasive species or a potential threat that's coming in like ghost gear, when that item is observed, you can get a text notification that then can go out to people that are nearby, for example, to slow down ships. Now, this is a common question we have, which is that we are in support of FAIR, which is findable, accessible, interoperable, and reproducible data practices, but we still let the users decide. So the users own their data and they decide who they're sharing it with. So they can share with just one marine protected area, or they can share with a network of marine protected areas or other researchers studying turtles or whales or whatever it is. And this supports self-declaration, data sovereignty, inclusivity, protection of special places and species. And these are really key for engaging and working with and collaborating with local and indigenous knowledge holders. And it's also important for ethics in publications, because collecting data from ocean stakeholders and then publishing behind paywalls and making the data open access so that others can use it without their explicit permission really defies a lot of the ethics around data collection and uses. So in summary, eOceans is prepared to help understand marine protected areas currently and to help them manage them dynamically in real time at varying spatial and temporal scales. So if you think that this would make sense for you and your marine protected area in your community, please get in touch with us. Thank you.